Welcome back, and now we're going to do what's called scumbling. And scumbling, I think of it as dry brushing, but it's a technique where we put on thin layers of paint and layer over with quite a dry brush and no water. And for this I use you don't want to be using good quality brushes because it does tend to wreck them basically. So these ones that I've been using, they're a bristle brush, so fairly coarse. They're not a particularly expensive brush. These probably cost me a couple of dollars each. I do find when you're first using them, some of the hairs do come out. But because we're working very dry, they're easy to remove from the paint and that will eventually stop. The other thing that happens, this gives you an example, also inexpensive brushes. These are a acrylic fibre, but you can see this one, the difference here, and this is what the brush starts off looking like, and this is what it looks like after I've been scumbling a few covers. So they do get quite worn, but it's great for the technique. So that's the brushes. With our paints, you want to choose, I find, 2 or 3 colours, and usually a opaque paint will work better for this technique that we're doing here. Sometimes with scumbling it can be used, you would use a transparent one over an existing piece of artwork, which creates like a film over it, which is quite interesting. But for this, I find the opaque paints are better. I always love my earthy colours, so I've got some Naples yellow, some orange. That's actually a gouache, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes. And my favourite of late, red oxide. So if you want to choose a couple of paints that appeal to you, so you could choose a couple of cooler colours, a couple of different shades of blues, or blues and greens, or teals and purples work nice. Whatever's appealing to you today, there's no wrong or right with that. You also will want, if you have it, some sort of metallic paints, and we use this later on to finish off with. So I've got a pale gold in an Atelier, and this is just a Matisse Flow in a metallic bronze. But any metallics, you could use a copper or a silver, whatever you have to hand. If you don't have metallics, that's fine. It still looks good without, but it adds another layer again. I think the thing with scumbling is patience. It's tempting to get the paint too wet and, you know, get it spread around a bit quicker. I find the cardboard works well because it soaks up the paint and gives us a good what's the word? Keeps it dry and helps with the overall look. So you just want to put not too much paint out to start with. And I'm going to use one of these hog's hair brushes. As you can see, this one's been used already. I don't think it really matters whether to start excuse me, with the lighter colours or the darker colours. But we'll start with a bit of this pale yellow. So you want to get a bit on your brush and then get some off your brush because you want your brush quite dry. And then in a circular motion, start spreading the paint around. Very dry. And really keeping it dry. If it feels too wet, dab it on a bit of paper towel. And you can work over, doesn't matter, you can go right over your our moulding paste designs. And because we're working dry, you don't really need to clean off the brush in between colours. And dry brushing is a great way also, or scumbling, to blend paints. So you can see they're starting to get the layers, but you can see some of the cardboard coming through as well, and that's fine. It doesn't matter if the board does show through a bit. And I found using this technique and doing layers upon layers, on the journals it almost gives them a feeling of leather or metallic to the covers, and we're just using cardboard in this particular process. You may find, depending on the colours that you're mixing together, they might go a little bit muddy, but I find that doesn't matter either. It gives it a nice earthy feel. Just bringing in some of this red oxide. Now I work in a circular motion, but you could work up and down if you wanted to, side by side. And you can see here in this section now, I'll just hold this up, it's getting a bit of a different colour because some of the yellows mixing, blending with the red oxide. So you're getting a whole range of colour coming through. So just keeping working. There's not, I mean, I can see I'm even getting tempted here to get it a bit wet because I want to cover it up. But just being patient, bringing the colours in. Building up layers. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'll bring it up a bit closer here so we can have a look at some of the different colours I've got. I think one of the things is you can see here there's not really any hard edges. Everything sort of is blended into each other, almost like, I don't know, clouds, but the colours are blending into each other. There's not like a hard line of like the red oxide, even though this is fairly dark, but the other colours are blending into it. So this is what we're looking for. You can even, there's no, once this is, I mean, this is pretty much dry now. So if I felt I wanted to bring something else in here, I could. So this same process we need to repeat on the back of this piece of cardboard. And then we also have the back of our journals, so you want to do it on the front and the back of them as well. So same technique, and you can use different colors if you like. So if you're thinking about, this is the front cover of the journal, if you imagine it like this, so this would be the inside front cover, and maybe you'd like that to be another color, or use the same. I tend to use the same, and this will be the back, so the inside and the outside of the back cover. So you can vary the colours if you like, but I tend to stick to the same 2 or 3 colours. And once this is dry with our front cover, then we can bring in one of our metallics. I'm going to have a go with this metallic bronze. Same sort of thing. You don't want it too, keeping it dry. Now you can, if you like, just have this more over the raised moulding paste, which is quite a nice effect. Let's try and hold this up here. So you can see that's starting to give a bit of a nice effect over the moulding paste. And you can put it on part of the raised one. And this, if you really want it to stand out, you can put a few layers on. And it starts to give it that nice metallic look, bringing another element in. So I'll just see if I can move this so you can see the metallic there. Just getting it in the right light. So that's starting to bring quite some interest into this piece. If you use a darker background, like you can see here where the red oxide is, the metallic is going to stand out more. It's not going to stand out as much with the light, excuse me, the lighter background. So that's something to think of. But you can also bring the metallic in when you're doing the inside and the other covers. You know, do your other layer first and then just dry brush some more metallic on. So that's our introduction to scumbling. So now you want to complete front and back covers of your board, and then when we've done with that, we can come together in the next video as to join everything together, our covers and our pages. And I look forward to seeing what colours you've chosen and mixed together. And I've put also at the beginning of this section in this lesson, there is some photos of some different colour schemes of journals that I've done to give you a few ideas. But as I said, using your own favourite colours is a wonderful thing to do on your own journal. Or as again, if it's for a gift and you know that person's favourite colours, you can of course incorporate them. So enjoy your scumbling. It does take a little while doing the layers, and it's almost, I suppose, a meditative process when you're doing it because of the motion and because it is layers upon layers, and it's nice building up the technique. So continue on with your scumbling, and we'll meet back in our next video when we start to bring all our covers and our pages together for our journals.